Well, thank you very much, everyone. Just quickly introduce myself. As it says, I'm Hamid Ainfad. I'm an independent consultant and an executive coach, and I also work for Women in Banking and Finance. And in particular, shamelessly, I'm going to put a key about one of our flagship programs, which is the Accelerating Change Together. This is a 4-year research program which was created, and we're in the year 3. And the idea was the first year we wanted to lay out a foundation in terms of how to generate diversity and inclusion. Yes, we are a women's organization because we think gender is the most critical issue, but we are focusing on diversity and inclusion as a whole. So the first year was a good finance framework, which basically brought this research to say, yes, there is a problem, and there are 10 dimensions that are contributing to this one. So that was the good finance framework. The second year, we shifted into becoming more practical and asking ourselves, how can we actually develop programs and actually measure this to see we are progressing? The outcome of that one was the Good Finance Framework Toolkit. And year 3, which is this year, we want to shift into implementation because we want to be practical and just see we can integrate this toolkit into the diversity and inclusion initiatives. And finally, the most important thing for us next year is to move to productivity. Why do I say this? Why is this critical? There are a few times within WBIF, we're constantly debating with our partners. Some of you are partners with the Women in Banking and Finance, and we are actually debating within our community inside. The critical issue for us is we have realized at the point that the key is productivity. To achieve productivity, we need diversity and inclusion. To get diversity and inclusion right, we need flexibility. And I think what the 3 panels today showed to us is, number one, definition of productivity is very difficult. And I think Jenny in the first panel highlighted that a lot of people think of productivity in one dimension. What can I do? Whereas now you have to expand it. What happens to the team? What happens to the organization? And rightly as Susie pointed, what it goes outside of your organization. So productivity becomes very critical. Now, when we're coming to the flexibility, again, throughout the panels, we just see it's not a very simple one-dimensional, I work 2 days from work. And one of the key themes that came from our research is flexibility does not have a prescriptive description. You cannot come and say flexibility means such and such. It will not work. And this is because it's a very complex problem. And what do I mean by complex? It's not just because it sounds like a nice word. It means that we do not know in advance the relationship between cause and effect. We don't know what will happen if we do something, which is something that we're grappling with all the problems in the business nowadays, both inside and outside in terms of the environmental. This is one of the reasons we have the agile methods. That's why we test and learn. And here is another key themes that came throughout these panels, which I think we should really credit and thank our panelists, is that we need that intentionality. We need to be willing to say, we don't know, but we're willing to learn. We're leaning into it. We're trying to solve these problems. At WBIF, we are very delighted because we have been screaming and yelling for the past couple of days when FCA and PRA announced their new proposal. This is the first time that the 2 biggest regulators in this country are saying that diversity is very critical to our productivity. And furthermore, they say flexibility is a key element of this, and no one size fits all exists. Why this is important, we're just jumping in for joy, is this is the first time PRA announced, and I quote, that diversity and inclusion is on par with capital and liquidity requirements. And I pause because for many years, I'm a consultant, as I said, for many years, we have heard all these things that human capital is very important. And my first challenge was, can you point to the balance sheet or the income statement? It never showed up. But today, for the first time, it comes because all of a sudden the government is pointing out and looking at this and said, Yes, in order for us to be competitive. And we like to just say, I'm just coming back to Susie, I'm going to put you on the spot. We have complex problems to solve, and we need every brain at the table. Well, participating. That's why it's important when people were talking about the mental health. We need people to be at the table, to be able to talk about it, present their ideas so we can debate and move forward. Is it going to be easy? Definitely not. We've been working in this program for the past 2 years. It is messy, but there's no other option. And after a while, we're beginning to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. And I think this is the situation that at WIBIF we have learned, and we would love to push, have more people involved in going forward with this. Now, what is the call to action? I think we've heard from everything from this one. In a short form, let's do things. So improving the hybrid working model, we talked about it, making sure that it's inclusive, making sure that the flexible options are available. And as Alan was saying, that advertised. To be honest with you, I am a little bit blessed because I have been spoiled by all kinds of flexibility throughout my career. Location, time, I had a chance to every year take 6 weeks off and just go bugger off, do nothing. Or I've had a chance to work location. I went to the office, to a different office when I wanted, or I had a chance to go to the office late at night. I didn't have to go doing, or stay home and work remotely. Let's explore all of those and make sure these are advertised and these are the things that we're believing and people can access. And finally, the most important thing is it is crucial to demonstrate the value. Coming back to the issue of productivity, it is very critical for us to demonstrate that. And to achieve that, I think it's very important that we challenge ourselves. What does productivity means? And from that one, moving to how the diversity can help this. Diversity and inclusion can help us achieve productivity, and moving into the flexibility and just seeing what flexibility means and what's available. So in conclusion, once again, I want to thank the partners, the Diversity Project, our team at WIBIF, all the panelists, all the moderator. They did a fantastic job. You see my notes were constantly changing as I was hearing people having the conversation. And thank you very much to all of you who attended for your wonderful questions and having the conversation. Please do stick around if you can for the network. Thank you very much.